Welcome to Natural History Nights. Today's episode tells the tale of Orin the Barn Owl. Lay back, close your eyes, and let Orin's story help you drift into a peaceful sleep. Please like and subscribe. It is early evening in the English countryside. The sky holds a dim blue hue, and the last warmth of the day fades from the low, open fields. Thin hedgerows edge the boundaries between pasture and crop, and scattered oaks stand dark against the horizon. Beyond a field of rye, a stone barn leans gently into the earth, its timbers long settled. Inside the barn's upper beams, in a space just wide enough for a wingspan, rests Orin, a male barn owl, Tyto alba. His feathers lie smooth against his body, pale cream over white, mottled faintly with grey and soft brown. His eyes, large and dark, remain half closed in the quiet hour between rest and flight. Around his face, a flat disc of feathers forms a heart-shaped frame, edged with a faint border of cinnamon. This facial disc is not decorative. It acts as a parabolic sound receiver, guiding the smallest of noises directly to his ears. His hearing is acute, sensitive to even the faint rustle of a field mouse beneath a covering of grass. Orin begins to stir. Though owls are often thought of as strictly nocturnal, barn owls are most active at dusk and just before dawn. He adjusts his stance and opens his wings, slowly at first. Each wing extends with deliberate care, revealing a broad surface of feathers designed not for speed, but for silence. The leading edge of each flight feather is comb-like in structure, softening the air as it passes and breaking up sound that would otherwise alert prey. No other bird flies as quietly. With a few slow beats, Orin lifts from the beam. He passes through the open loft and into the cooling air. Below, the ground is uneven with tufts of grass and furrows from old tractor wheels. He flies low, just a meter above the field. This low flight pattern is not random. Barn owls hunt by listening and watching close to the ground. They fly slowly, pausing often to hover briefly or tilt their heads. Their long legs, feathered almost to the talons, hang just behind them, ready to strike. As Orin moves over the field, his head remains almost unnaturally still. Even as his wings tilt and adjust for balance, his head stays locked in position. This stability is due to the owl's specialized vertebrae. Barn owls can rotate their heads up to 270 degrees, allowing them to track sound or movement without shifting their bodies. In the distance, a vole begins to move through the grass. It is unseen to the eye, but its movement carries sound. Orin tilts his head once, then again, triangulating the exact location of the animal. His ears are asymmetrically placed on either side of his head, one slightly higher than the other, allowing him to judge both direction and elevation of a sound source. In a sudden drop, Orin folds his wings and falls through the air. There is no sound. He lands with both feet forward, talons extended. The vole is caught instantly. Orin kills quickly, using the sharp curved tip of his beak. Then he stands for a moment, adjusting the catch in his feet. Barn owls typically swallow small prey whole. He tilts his head back and begins to consume the vole head first. In time, bones and fur will be compacted in his gizzard, later regurgitated as a dry, oblong pellet. With the first catch secured, Orin rises again. He patrols the perimeter of the field, then moves further to a nearby ditch where water collects in narrow channels. Insects hum quietly in the evening air, and the tall grass rustles as beetles move beneath it. Though insects are present, Orin's diet consists almost entirely of small mammals. Field mice, voles, shrews, and young rats form the bulk of his nutrition. He needs to eat several each night. An adult barn owl requires up to 100 grams of food per day, depending on the size and type of prey. He returns to the barn, landing silently on a fence post near the entrance. From this perch he observes. Though his vision is not adapted for complete darkness, barn owls have excellent low-light sight. Their eyes are large in proportion to their skull and are tubular in shape, which limits movement but increases focus. To look around, Orin moves his head, not his eyes. This fixed eye structure is a trait shared with other birds of prey. The evening stretches on, and Orin continues his pattern. He flies in loops, returns to his perch, and strikes again. Each movement is measured. Unlike falcons or hawks that use bursts of speed and agility, the barn owl's hunting method relies on patience and precision. Occasionally, Orin shifts from open fields to rougher ground. He skims over a patch of scrubland where brambles grow unchecked. There, hidden beneath the thorny cover, a bank vole may make its den. Orin adjusts his flight, reducing speed. His wings, broad and rounded, allow for slow gliding. He listens. This time, the catch is more difficult. The vole has moved between tufts of dry grass, and its sound is masked by wind. Orin hovers briefly, then lands without striking. He waits, head cocked, until the wind drops again. Though hunting is the main activity of the night, Orin also grooms between flights. He perches back on a familiar rafter and begins to run his beak through his chest feathers. This behavior is essential for maintaining insulation and aerodynamics. The feathers are loosely structured, enabling silent flight but requiring frequent care. He uses his beak and talons to remove dirt and realign the delicate barbs. Barn owls are particularly vulnerable to rain. Unlike ducks or crows, their feathers are not waterproof. If soaked, they become heavy, and flight is impaired. As such, Orin hunts only in dry conditions. Later, he visits the edge of the barn roof and stretches his wings again. The night is now quiet. The field has grown still. Frogs can be heard from a nearby pond, but few mammals remain active. Orin's stomach is full. He has caught and eaten 3 mice and a vole. He flies once more, circling above the barn before returning to his usual resting place. There, tucked within the sheltered rafters, he stands motionless. His legs flex slightly, and he tucks one under his body. His head turns almost fully around before settling beneath his wing. He sleeps upright, alert to any noise. Barn owls do not build nests in the traditional sense. Instead, they seek high, enclosed spaces, old barns, tree hollows, or church towers where they can remain undisturbed. Orin has returned to this barn each night for years. It is dry, familiar and safe. As the first light appears on the horizon, Orin remains still. His day's activity, carried out entirely in the shadows, draws to a close. Another night has passed, quiet and unseen. Several months ago, the barn was not silent. Instead of steel rafters and low perches, the loft was filled with noise. From a narrow ledge, high in the interior, a set of 5 small barn owl chicks had hatched. They were white bundles at first, blind and nearly motionless, covered only in sparse, soft down. These were Orin's young. He had found the site during the early spring, choosing this high ledge for its shelter and seclusion. It was dry, warm, and out of reach of most predators. Barn owls do not build nests from sticks or leaves. Instead, the female simply clears a flat space and lays her eggs directly onto the surface. Each egg was laid 2 or 3 days apart. Barn owls are asynchronous breeders, meaning the chicks hatch in the same order the eggs were laid. This creates a distinct size difference among the young, especially in the early days. The first chick to hatch is already strong and vocal by the time the last has emerged. The female, Orin's mate, stayed close to the young in the first few weeks. She brooded them constantly, keeping their body temperature stable. Young owlets cannot thermoregulate at first. Without warmth from the parent, they lose heat rapidly. During this time, Orin provided all the food. He hunted constantly through the night. Each return to the barn was marked by a small catch, a vole, a mouse, or sometimes a shrew. He would land near the opening, pass the prey to the female, and immediately depart again. Feeding 5 chicks was a full night's work. As the chicks grew, so did their demands. At first, they were fed small pieces of prey. The female tore these apart with her beak, passing soft flesh to the waiting mouths. Later, the larger chicks began to swallow whole items on their own. By 3 weeks of age, they were almost unrecognizable. Their eyes were fully open, and they had begun to grow a second layer of down. This thicker down gave them better insulation, and the female began to leave the nest more often. By 5 weeks, feathers started to appear along the wings and tail. These pin feathers pushed through the down in small clusters, dark at first, then pale at the tips. The owlets now stood upright for longer periods and moved clumsily around the ledge. They flapped their wings in short bursts, testing their strength. At 6 weeks, their wing feathers lengthened and the down began to thin. Their adult pattern of white and pale brown started to show, and the facial disc became clearly defined. At this stage, Orin began to deliver prey directly to the ledge without the female's help. He would drop a vole or mouse at the entrance and leave. The young owls began to compete for food. Siblings hissed and snapped at each other, each trying to secure the best position. The largest chick often received the first prey. In poor food conditions, smaller siblings may not survive. This natural hierarchy is a common feature of barn owl broods. Flight practice began next. By 7 to 8 weeks, the strongest chicks began to make short flights inside the barn. They launched themselves from one beam to another, or flapped across the open loft with unsteady movements. These early flights were vital. Wing muscles strengthened quickly, and coordination improved with repetition. feathers hardened and aligned into the smooth aerodynamic structure seen in adults. At 9 weeks, the first chick left the barn. Its flight was short, from the ledge to a low branch outside, then back again. The others followed in the next few days. Each owl left and returned multiple times each night, slowly gaining confidence. They remained dependent on Orin for food, however. Even as they learned to fly, they had not yet learned to hunt. Hunting is not instinctive in barn owls. It requires both practice and exposure to prey. Young owls must learn to track sound, adjust for wind, and strike with precision. In their second month outside the nest, they began to follow Orin on his routes. They watched from nearby posts or low branches as he flew low over the fields. Occasionally, they mimicked his movements. Practice catches were common. The young owls pounced on leaves, insects, or even clumps of grass. Success came gradually. The first real prey, a field mouse, was caught by the second largest chick just after 10 weeks of age. Within 2 weeks, all surviving young had made their first successful kill. By this time, the female had already left. It is common for the female to depart once the chicks are flying and feeding themselves. She may move to another roosting site, often within the same territory. Orin remained longer, delivering prey for several more nights. He watched from a distance as each young owl began to move independently. By 12 to 13 weeks, the young began to disperse. One flew west, toward a line of hedgerows near a river. Another took up residence in a hollow tree 2 miles north. Their range expanded quickly. Within a few more weeks, they would be fully independent. Few would remain near the barn. Dispersal is essential for survival. Juvenile barn owls rarely establish breeding territories close to their birthplace. Instead, they travel widely, sometimes over 40 kilometers, searching for vacant sites. These movements reduce competition and allow populations to spread. Orin remained in the barn. The site had served him well for many seasons. The young had grown, fledged, and moved on. A new season would come, and with it, the chance to breed again. But for now, the barn was quiet once more. Only a few stray feathers remained on the ledge, along with the pale traces of owl pellets. Signs of a brood raised successfully. Outside, the fields were full of sound. Grasshoppers chirped low in the hedges, and the wind moved steadily through the rye. Orin perched on his usual fence post, still and upright. The phase of rearing was complete. He would now return to his solitary pattern of hunting, flying, and resting until the next spring returned. Orin lives in a region shaped by centuries of human activity. The fields that stretch out from the barn are the result of long established farming. Hedgerows, grassy margins, and fallow ground mark the spaces between pastures and crops. These quiet borderlands are vital to Orin's way of life. Barn owls prefer open countryside. They hunt best in low, flat terrain with scattered trees or hedgerows. Orin's flight style depends on uninterrupted space. He moves close to the ground, listening for movement among grasses and roots. Short vegetation helps sound travel. Longer grass or dense woodland makes it harder to detect prey. The barn itself is also important. It offers shelter, darkness, and elevation. Orin returns to the same roosting site each day. This behavior is typical of adult barn owls. They are faithful to good roosting and nesting sites, and may use the same structure for many years. Old buildings, church towers, tree hollows, and purpose-built nest boxes are all suitable. In this landscape, Orin is not alone. His presence is part of a wider ecological network. The voles and mice he hunts feed on seeds, roots, and stored grain. By controlling rodent numbers, barn owls help maintain balance. They provide a natural form of pest management across farmland. A single barn owl may consume over 1,000 small mammals in a year. This steady predation helps reduce crop loss and limits the spread of disease. In healthy farmland, the population of prey animals rises and falls with the seasons. Orin's hunting success varies accordingly. Hedgerows play a crucial role in this system. They provide cover for small mammals and act as corridors between habitats. Hedgerows also support insects and nesting birds. The loss of hedgerows can reduce prey availability for barn owls. Conservation schemes often include hedge planting or restoration to maintain these networks. Orin's habitat is also shaped by light. Barn owls are crepuscular, meaning they are most active at dusk and dawn. Artificial lighting can affect their ability to hunt. Brightly lit areas discourage movement and make it harder for prey to remain concealed. Barn owls avoid roads and towns where lights remain on through the night. Modern farming practices have introduced new challenges. Increased use of pesticides reduces insect populations, which affects the food web. Rodenticides, used to control mice and rats, can also harm barn owls. When Orin eats a poisoned rodent, the toxin may accumulate in his system. Even low doses can lead to illness, disorientation, or death. Changes in land use have also reduced suitable nesting sites. Old barns are often sealed or replaced. Trees with hollow trunks may be removed for timber or safety. These losses reduce breeding opportunities for barn owls. In response, conservation groups have installed thousands of nest boxes. These simple wooden structures provide safe, elevated spaces for breeding. They are mounted on poles, inside buildings, or in trees. Orin's barn has one such box, tucked into the upper rafters. It is protected from wind and rain and remains undisturbed by machinery. Monitoring programs have been established across the country. Volunteers and researchers track breeding pairs, check nest box use, and record prey remains. This information helps conservationists understand population trends and habitat needs. Climate also plays a role in Orin's survival. Barn owls do not hunt in heavy rain. Their feathers are not waterproof, and wet conditions reduce their ability to fly. Prolonged wet weather can lead to starvation. Mild winters and dry springs support breeding success. Cold snaps or frequent storms reduce chick survival. Predation is a less common threat for adult barn owls. Their size and silent nature offer some protection. However, eggs and chicks may be taken by foxes, stoats, or other birds. Nest boxes with narrow entrances help reduce this risk. Roads remain one of the greatest dangers. Barn owls often hunt along verges where mice and voles are plentiful. Their low flight puts them at risk of vehicle collisions. Many conservation efforts now include roadside fencing or reflective markers to guide owls away from danger. Despite these challenges, barn owls remain widespread. Their quiet presence continues across farmland, grassland and moor. They adapt well to varied rural settings, provided food and shelter are available. Ongoing conservation work supports these needs. Public awareness has also increased. Many farmers and landowners now maintain wild margins and support nest box programs. Schools, nature reserves, and local groups run barn owl talks and ringing demonstrations. These efforts have helped restore the population in areas where it had declined. Orin remains unaware of these measures. His life follows a steady pattern. Each night, he patrols the same familiar fields, following the contours of the land, listening for sound. He watches from the barn roof, moves silently through hedgerow paths, and returns to roost as the light rises. The role he plays is quiet but essential, a part of the landscape, both predator and resident. Though his presence often goes unnoticed, the field beneath his wings is shaped in part by him. In a world of constant movement, Orin's life remains tied to natural rhythms. The rise and fall of populations, the shift in seasons, the change in weather. He moves according to need, rests according to light, and hunts with focus and precision. The barn remains his anchor, the ledge above the hay, the post by the gate, the beams warmed by evening air. As long as the land remains open and quiet, and prey still stirs in the grass, Orin will continue to fly. Thank you for joining me tonight on Natural History Nights. For the rest of the hour, enjoy the calming sounds of nature. Wherever you are, I hope the quiet rhythms of the natural world bring you a little peace as you drift off to sleep. From both of us, Orin and me, rest well, sleep deeply, and until next time, good night.